I was there when Harper vanished. One moment beside me, the next, swallowed by the shadows.
Have you ever been in a crowd so dense that you felt invisible? Surrounded by faces, yet utterly alone? That's the paradox of crowds. Their safety, their menace. For Harper Langley, a young woman with a knack for blending into the background, it became her undoing. It started on a chilly November evening in New York City, the streets alive with tourists, street performers, and vendors hawking roasted chestnuts. Harper was attending the annual Lantern Parade in Central Park, a spectacle of lights, music, and laughter that drew thousands each year. She wasn't particularly social, but her best friend, Elise, had insisted. "It'll be fun," Elise had said, tugging Harper along. "You can't spend every weekend locked in your apartment." Harper agreed reluctantly, clutching her steaming cup of mulled cider as they wove through the throng. The parade was a dazzling display of paper lanterns shaped like animals, stars, and mythical creatures, each glowing with an inner light that flickered as if alive. The air smelled of damp leaves and winter's approach. Somewhere between the giant dragon lantern and the man juggling flaming torches, Harper vanished. Elise didn't notice at first. They'd been walking side by side, the crowd pressing in on them from every direction. Harper wasn't a talker, so Elise assumed she was simply lost in thought, as she often was. But when she turned to comment on a particularly elaborate lantern, a phoenix with wings that shimmered like fire, Harper was gone. "Elise?" Elise spun around, expecting Harper to be right behind her. "Harper, where are you?" Her voice was swallowed by the cacophony of the crowd. She stood on tiptoe, scanning the sea of faces, her heart quickening. Harper wasn't the type to wander off. She was cautious, almost paranoid about personal safety. Elise texted her, the message unread. Minutes stretched into an hour. Panic set in. Elise flagged down a police officer stationed at the event, her voice trembling as she explained. The officer nodded, already radioing for backup. She couldn't have gone far, he said, though his expression betrayed doubt. The search spanned hours, moving from the park to the surrounding streets. By midnight, Elise was sitting in a police precinct, answering questions and staring at the empty chair where Harper should have been. The officers assured her they'd find her friend, but they didn't. The next morning, Harper's face was everywhere. Flyers, news segments, social media. Elise pored over every detail, replaying the night in her mind. She scoured security footage from the park, but the recordings only deepened the mystery. In one clip, Harper was seen walking a few steps behind Elise. Then, without warning, she stopped. She turned her head sharply to the right, as if hearing something no one else could. Her lips moved, forming words lost to the din. She took a single step off the main path and into the shadows of the trees. And then, she simply wasn't there anymore. Theories flooded the internet. Some claimed she was abducted, though no witnesses reported seeing anything suspicious. Others suggested she'd staged her own disappearance. Conspiracy threads cropped up, tying her vanishing to urban legends about shadow figures that prowled Central Park at night. Elise didn't believe any of it. She'd known Harper for years. She wasn't the type to run away. And yet, the longer she searched, the stranger the clues became. 2 weeks later, Elise received an envelope with no return address. Inside was a single photograph. It was Harper, but not as Elise remembered her. Her friend was standing in a forest, her face pale and hollow, her eyes wide with terror. Behind her, half shrouded in darkness, loomed a figure, a man-shaped void where light seemed to die. Scrawled on the back of the photo were 3 words, "Don't follow me." Elise brought the photo to the police, but they dismissed it as a cruel hoax. She knew better. She returned to the park that night, retracing Harper's last steps. The lanterns were gone, replaced by eerie silence. In the same spot where Harper had vanished, Elise found something, a faint, almost imperceptible shimmer in the air, like heat waves rising from pavement. She reached out, her fingers tingling as they passed through the invisible threshold. A voice whispered in her ear, soft and chilling.
Help me.
Help me.
Help me.
Elise pulled her hand back,
Help me.
heart pounding. She ran, leaving the park and the shimmer behind. But she couldn't escape the voice.
Help me.
It followed her home,
Help me.
whispering in the dark corners of her apartment, calling her name from mirrors. She still searches for Harper, though the lines between reality and nightmare blur more each day. And every night,
Help me.
when the voice grows
Help me.
louder,
Help me.
she wonders if she's
Help me.
next.